The lecture on serviceology will start. Today's theme is comfort. Here, comfort will be classified into positive pleasure as pleasantness and negative pleasure as neutrality. So, let's get started. Prologue. In service, enhancing customer satisfaction is crucial. One factor that increases customer satisfaction is comfort. So, this lecture will explain comfort. The meaning of comfort is that, simply put, comfort refers to a state of feeling good and satisfied, free from unpleasant physical and mental stimuli. Here, we will explain the concept of comfort, dividing it into the following two types. The first is pleasantness as positive pleasure. The second is neutrality as negative pleasure. However, because pleasantness is unique in that opportunities for intervention or stimulation are generally rare, neutrality as negative pleasure is often referred to as comfort. This page explains the classification of pleasantness and neutrality. This table shows the contents and specific examples for both, respectively. The contents of neutrality are explained as follows. Elimination of unpleasant factors. Maintenance of safety and health. Less stress. Maintenance of homeostasis. Often unnoticed. Its specific examples are elimination of unpleasant vibrations, noise, and odors. Optimization of temperature, humidity, illuminance, etc. Next, the contents of pleasantness are explained as follows. Moderate stimulation, moderate physiological load, dynamic, unusual, unstable, non-steady. Added value, i.e., service, short duration, or short term. Its specific examples are BGM, air fresheners, lighting, video, roller coasters, ocean breeze, massages. However, please keep in mind that these may vary depending on individual differences. In addition to the difference between pleasantness and neutrality, we will use the image to explain that this comfort varies from person to person. First, for some person, the scent of that perfume is something they absolutely love and feel pleasant. This is pleasantness. However, another person may dislike the scent of this perfume and feels very uncomfortable. Therefore, removing this scent will make this person feel relieved. This is neutrality. Here, when there is no scent of this perfume from the beginning, the person does not perceive the odorless state. And no unpleasant feelings arise, and the person remains calm. This is also neutrality, and at this moment, the person is unaware. This corresponds to the table explained earlier. Here's another example. For one person, listening to pleasant music is pleasant. However, this music may be just noise to another person. Therefore, for that person, eliminating this sound would be neutral. Among the factors that affect comfort, thermal sensation will appear in all service situations and is a basic sensation that significantly affects comfort. So, we will now explain thermal sensation. Thermal sensation refers to the sensation of hot or cold that people feel indoors. It is considered an important element of comfort. Thermal sensation is generally expressed by 6 elements. 4 environmental factors represented by green circles, and 2 personal factors represented by orange circles. The first environmental factor is temperature. This is the temperature inside a room, and it directly affects body heat dissipation. The second is humidity. High humidity slows the evaporation of sweat, preventing heat loss from the body and increasing discomfort. The third is airflow. Fast airflow promotes the evaporation of sweat, lowering the body's surface temperature and making you feel cooler. However, if the airflow is too fast, you may feel cold. The fourth is radiation. This refers to the flow of heat in and out through walls, windows, floors, etc. If the walls are cold in winter, heat is lost, and you feel cold, and if they are hot in summer, you feel hot. The first persona factor is metabolic rate. This refers to the energy generated through exercise and work, and the higher your metabolic rate, the warmer you feel. The second is the amount you are wearing. Even at the same temperature, the sensation of hot or cold will differ depending on the clothing worn. Clothing has insulating and heat-retaining properties, so the clothing you wear also affects your thermal sensation. This means that when designing the interior of a restaurant, for example, it is important to take into account the clothing of customers, building materials, heating and cooling equipment, and so on. Finally, let's summarize the difference between neutrality and pleasantness. Neutrality causes little physiological stress. For example, it is a state where you feel neither hot nor cold. Because of this, since individual differences are small, it is possible to pursue their standardization. On the other hand, pleasantness occurs when a strong stimulus is received. For example, there is the pleasure felt at the moment when the temperature changes from hot to cold. Because it depends heavily on individual differences, it is difficult to standardize, and it is necessary to devise ways to meet the needs of each individual. Thank you for watching. This lecture ends here. Please watch for the next lecture. The URL for the next lecture is listed in the description box of the opening lecture, whose URL is in this description box. If you like this lecture, please subscribe to my channel.